Hey everybody, time for me to review Final Fantasy 15. The game's been out a couple of weeks now. I bought it on the day of release and I've been playing it consistently ever since. I'll give you my impressions on the game shortly, but I want to give you a little bit of my history with the Final Fantasy games, because it's quite a long history. I I really love RPGs. It's probably my favourite genre for all the games that I play, and I owe all of that really to Final Fantasy. My first probably real experience of an RPG was Final Fantasy 7 back on the PlayStation 1. I remember playing that, and no game had ever done that to me before. Completely sucked me into the world, and you got so much fun and enjoyment out of it. Um, the whole package, like the 4-disc little box set that you got with it, the artwork, the music, the cutscenes. I'd never experienced a game like it, and I absolutely loved that game. And subsequently, following that, really enjoyed Final Fantasy 8, and I enjoyed all the Final Fantasies up to 10. I enjoyed and played Final Fantasy 10. And then I kind of cooled off a little bit on Final Fantasy games. I thought they got a bit too, I don't know, complex, complicated, difficult to follow. And I started learning and enjoying the Western RPGs. So I'd say for the last 5 years or so, I've probably enjoyed Western RPGs more. Things like Skyrim and the Witcher games, Dragon Age, things like that. They're more my style of RPG. But saying that, this has been in development for so long, Final Fantasy 15. So much has been teased and hinted at, and we saw all the trailers and the gameplays and all this kind of stuff, and the promise of an open world. It was too much really to not be interested in this game. If you're an RPG fan, a true RPG fan, there had to be some interest in this game for you. So I was tempted back and I bought it, and I've been playing it since. Now, my impressions are that there's so much about this game to love, that the things that spoil it aren't just enough to ruin the experience, but for me, the mistakes that they have made in the game are enough to turn me off the game, in a sense of to class it in the same category as Skyrim and Witcher, and even the earlier Final Fantasy games in regards to classics to me. Now, I'll start off with the negatives first with the game. I kind of wrote a list earlier this week of all the negatives, or certainly some of the negatives for me, and one of the negatives is the incredibly long loading times. You could argue Skyrim's guilty of that, and a lot of other RPGs are guilty of that, but it just seemed so, in this game, it just broke the immersion so much, and they happened so often, that I just thought it was pretty poor, really. The music, I put down here on the list crappy music, but that's not entirely fair. When you're actually in battle, or there's a cutscene or something like that, generally speaking, the music is of high quality, of a good standard. What I mean by the crappy music is essentially when you like walking around the city centres, or you're walking around parking lots, shops. I mean, the music that they give you, it's like elevator music. It's just really naff and old-fashioned. Poor, really, and it not enough to ruin the game, but it just gets right on your nerves eventually, to the point where I had to turn it right down. Some very strange fast travel options, and by that I mean this kind of ties into the long loading times. Um, the car that you get, a lot of people are giving the car stick. I don't mind the car so much. It doesn't ruin the game for me. I quite like their take on the fast travel. It's the idea, I think, with the car is to get you used to the characters and see them bonding and almost have a little bit of a breather yourself while you're driving to the next location. The problem being with the car is they should have given you the option to fast travel if you didn't want to sit in the car. I mean, sometimes you could be sat on a car trip for up to 10 minutes sometimes while you're travelling to a location you've never been to before because you can't fast travel to it. It just seems quite a bizarre choice. And when you can fast travel somewhere, you're not really fast traveling because the long loading screen that you get in between it could take so long. So I think they made a poor decision there in the fast travel options. The costume changes, like a lot of open world games, poor really. And you get some predetermined costumes that you can change into, but other than that, there's not a great deal of choice. I think there should have been a little bit more choice in regards to costumes, like similar other open world games. The magic, you can't really call it magic. It's more like magic bombs. It's not like traditional magic or spells that you had in the old Final Fantasy games. You kind of drain elements from the maps that you're running around in, and then you kind of create magic bombs and throw them in battle. But you just end up not using them. I think fairly poor decision around the magic. You can't use the summons anywhere near as much as you would like to when you finally do get a summon. I mean, I was like well over 20 hours into the game, if not longer, before I got a summon. Most of the side quests, if I'm honest, they pretty much suck. There are some exceptions, but a lot of them are just damn fetch quests. You know, you do quests for someone, you bring back what they're after, and then straight away they give you another quest. It's just something else to go and gather for them, bring it back. And the only reason you compel to do it is because you get quite a lot of experience for some of them. But for a lot of the side quests, like I said, they're just not good enough for a modern day RPG. You don't feel like there's any point in doing a lot of them. So if you like, that's a lot of the negatives for me out of the way with this game, which allows me to focus on the positives. And as always with the Final Fantasy games, the story, if you like, I suppose it doesn't make an awful lot of sense, but it is still good. But more importantly than that, the main protagonist and his pals, the guys you see with him there, they are pretty cool. To be honest, when I first started the game, I didn't particularly like them and they got on my nerves a bit, but they do grow on you massively. There's a pretty good little mini games, as you can see on the screen now. You get like to play little pinball machines in, like, you know, the gas stations, petrol stations where you stop. And that was pretty cool. I was really chuffed with that. I really quite enjoyed doing them. The combat is so much better than I imagined it was going to be. I thought to switch from turn-based to full-on action, that they were going to struggle to get that right, but they did. They absolutely got it right. It's simplistic but fun. So that bit they absolutely got right. The graphics at times are absolutely stunning, and the cutscenes are just absolutely amazing, and some of the epic battles that you get involved with are brilliant too. So it nails all that side of it absolutely. I struggle really to call this game an open world game. It is an open world game, but with certain rules and restrictions. and when you get to a certain point within the game, you lose the open world option and it becomes very linear, but you do get the chance to go back to the open world later, or at the end, should I say. So I've really puzzled over this. I've been putting off doing any kind of review for this game because, I'll be honest, my initial impressions of the game weren't good. They were all negative, really. And I was pretty stunned by some of the reviews that I saw on YouTube of this game and some of the things that people were saying. I just thought they were talking crap, really. But I've put a lot of time into this game, and there's something about it that just keeps pulling you back. It's really, really hard to describe it, but I can't honestly say. For me, the best RPG I've ever played is The Witcher 3, and for me that is, for such a massive title like this. It's been in development for so long. I think it's a million miles away, this, from being in the same territory as Witcher 3. That game, I think, beats it on absolutely every single level. But I think what lets this title down is it tries so hard to be modern and new and fresh, and it gets a lot of the ideas right, and it gets a lot of them wrong. It kind of feels new, modern, fresh, but old-fashioned at the same time. I still haven't fully made my mind up on this. I think it is one of those that will, I think, in time, grow on me. I think I need to maybe play it again to really give it a fair assessment. But right now, it's not my favourite RPG. It's not even my favourite game of the year this year. But if you want to give this game a go, absolutely give it a go, because it's not terrible. Everything works. I think I've only had one crash in the game. Everything works. It's a really, really good game. It just, if I'm honest, it just let me down a little bit. I expected a little bit more for a game that was in development for so long.